if you watched my video yesterday, you would know that Regidrago is free on the Battle Pass. Well, technically free. You have to use 800 of these gems, but it's such a good deal. Why wouldn't you take it? And starting off, they give you a 2-2 line. And then if you make it over to tier 3, you are able to get the Regidrago VSTAR and the... where's it? And the Regidrago V that's over here. So that's already a 3-3 line, which is probably good enough for most people. But, you know, what do you do with these Regidrago pieces now? I have this list over here that I've been tinkering around with. It is missing Serena, because I haven't gotten Serenas yet. But even so, it's still performing decently well. I believe the difference is that you're supposed to run, like, 2 Serenas, or 3 Serenas, and take out the boss's orders and the Juniper. But this list is run just fine as it is, right now. And I'm really a huge fan of any Arceus deck that plays Path of the Peak and has a barrel engine in it. I think it's about as consistent as it gets. It's one of the easiest ways to play in the standard format right now. And with the emphasis on abilities right now between Mew VMAX, Lugia V-Star, even Kieran Palkia are still around, and a few other decks, I think Path of the Peak is still phenomenal, and people simply aren't ready to deal with it. So, just to explain the deck a little bit, we got a 4-3 line of Arceus. We really want to be starting with Arceus, so a 4-3 line makes sense. The V-Star is broken, charges 3 energy on one of your Pokemon, and you can search your deck for 2 cards. Charge it on the Regidrago over here. And Regidrago is cool because you can use any attack you want. I know there's been some crazy builds, so if we actually go into the edit part of the deck, I know there's people that have been trying to use, like, Dragonite, this one to charge energies on. You can use this one for damage as well. There's people who have tried putting in the Guard Chomp as well. I believe they give you a free Guard Chomp as well if you're interested in that. There's also Flygon as an option up here. And there's a lot of Pokemon you can throw in, but really, I've tried to keep it simple. I believe that there's only 3 Pokemon you really need. As Goodra, because Arceus Goodra has been successful. Giratina, because Arceus Giratina has been successful. And technically, Arcturalon has been successful, but that's because of the ability more so than the attack. But having a shred attack is nice when people might still be playing Miltank. I'm not sure who's playing Miltank, but someone might. So having ways around that is super, super nice. It also helps with the low Vulpix if people ever start playing that. So we keep it real simple with just the 3 dragons here. And you also got the Regidrago V with the Dragon Laser attack. I've used it one game to finish a knockout against a Palkia, and then set up a Kyurem to be knocked out by a Zigzagoon plus Lost Impact. Unfortunately, I lost that game. So. But yeah, I'm still a huge fan of a barrel. I do not like losing to Roxanne, so there's that. Zigzagoon's pretty flexible too as a card. I've seen it used where you just have a Arceus with a DTE, and then you attach Choice Bell, Zigzagoon, and you knock out a 220 HP V. You can also use it to fix math in other places as well. So, just keep that in mind when you're doing that. It's not the most crucial piece in the world, but yeah, it's there. And there's a Pumpkaboo here. I like having the Pumpkaboo as an option because it can help get rid of Temple of Sinnoh or Path of the Peak in case you want to use it. And the energy counts are 4 DTEs, 3 fire, 6 grass. Seems about standard. Everything else here is pretty simple. That's what I like about this list. Because, I've seen the straight Regidrago list, and they're so clunky in how they're trying to work. I saw someone try to play a Lost Zone version, and they kept ending up Lost Zoning like certain pieces, like they'd lost their Goodra, and then you can't use the Goodra's attack anymore. And then even the straight ones with like not Regidrago, but with like Gardenia's Vigor as the acceleration option, just seems so clunky in comparison. So I'm really just fine sticking with the Arceus here. It's less exciting, but it gets the job done. And I hope you guys enjoy these games. Alrighty, we're getting started with our very first here. So, I think, I don't know if I mentioned this in my interaction, because I always record these separately, but I think one of the biggest things for me is that playing a Path of the Peak Arceus is something I'm really comfortable on this one. It's really easy to play, and on top of that, there's just so many things that can go right. You're also also going to see here, I'm choosing to put the Path of the Peak down, which is an interesting choice. Only because, you know, it makes me turn off my own abilities. I don't really have a great hand right now for stuff. Like, this hand would love to Starburst into a Juniper plus other card, right? But unfortunately, I'm just not in that situation where I feel like I can do that safely, especially against the news of the new day and age, where they just have so many tools that can allow them to explode, especially with that new tablet. So I'm just going to do everything in my power to stop you from blowing me up. But the one huge risk in this format is, you know, you always risk marijuana. But thankfully we hit so you get started. So 2 presents here are going to draw an extra turn and my Regidrago. So I'm feeling very confident that something positive will happen, at least. We get our energy and our other Regi. Out by the other Regi here, especially our Lucius is going out because we're going to get fully charged up, which is sick. He gets a Chromatic, so it's a bit late for him because he can't really grab VIP pass, and there's still the stadium play, so it's not even like Genesec's a good move. So basically he has to go for the research. I don't know if he was typically run research, but and we're just gonna see him drop down another view. Ultimately, there's not a whole lot he can do in this situation, so I'm just big chilling. I'm gonna get my second Regidrago charged up as well. It's a very, very healthy game state. Once again, the Path of Peak up, making that choice to sacrifice the ability to actually use my VSTAR early on has really panned out here. I'm also just thinking about there were some alternate lines where I could have been like, well, maybe I should Ultra Ball the yeah, if you're, you know, and the Arceus VSTAR, so I could grab another one. I also accidentally over-attached here. I didn't really mean to attach that energy on. I was supposed to go up with the 2 so I can help return it later as he bossed it up. But, oh well, this seems like we're gonna see the Arceus go down, but our Regidrago is charged up, and we have at least Giratina active, which is good. I get another chance to also search out for the Giratina, but I just decided to do Tornado Attachment is probably fine. I also am like being greedy there with the party, or like trying to get rid of the party. It's like, oh, I can grab Gudra, and then I can quick ball it away, so just to keep the party anyways. Just because I need a way out of this hand, and it doesn't really make sense to do anything else besides the barrel here. So we end up taking that extra fire energy all the way attached there. Just looking around, I think we have one more grass energy left, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take off the Regidrago. Hopefully I get surprises, if not, it's not too big of a deal really. The Gudra, which, you know, is a little bit silly that I wasn't looking for that initially. Because I would have been looking for it and I would have pulled out like Duraludon or something. But yeah, we're just in a solid spot. He needs like a miracle in the cutscene, and it doesn't seem very likely that's gonna happen in this grade. Even if a second Chromatic. And once again, I don't even know what you're supposed to grab here. You've already used your research. Not all the line cards actually get you out of this area. You need like you need a Fusion Strike with one that pumps stadium. So we're just gonna go ahead and finish the game quick here. Energies off, so yeah, Path of Peak is still really strong, especially against Lugia and Mew. I really dislike it if you slow them down because they want to. They're sort of steamrolling X. They want to get ahead and then force you to stay behind the entire game. We have another race start here with the double turbo energy and the choice belt. These are probably the 2 cards I love to see the most on opening hand, alongside with the Evo itself. I couldn't really ask for a more perfect hand, except for maybe a Regidrago off the top. Yeah. There's also a consideration here about Path of Peak, but I'm thinking about decks that I could be facing. Typically, the barrel is a sign that you're also going to play that alongside it, which is a reason to play Path of Peak. Typically, I also have to watch out for Lugia, and it turns out to be Zor, so not too bad about this. At most decks can like hit you with that Trivia charge, I guess. There's not a whole lot of decks that are really good smack in turn 2 that also happen to play Bidoof. So just a consideration. Now, I grab the Arceus VSTAR. Do I want to grab anything here? He's a pretty safe heavy deck, so I decided to have to peek down. Right now it's fine. This hand isn't good, but it's fine, because he still needs blood. He needs a Gengar and a Game Drop Log, and then like 2 Game Drops in order to fix all this damage here, which is extremely unlikely, especially with no after draw support, just the Void Return. This hand isn't very good, and usually, since I'm only playing a 2-2 line, I usually only expect to get 1 Regidrago up per game, so I'm just fine to use the energy down with the RCC to use the third one. I should have put the fire energy on the RC cell to grass on the Regidrago, that way I could at least attack with both, but I have the double turbo energy in my hand, so it's probably fine. Not to mention, you could even make the case like, oh, you know, even if you're playing around like Marty or something, you still want the fire energy on because it's harder to fire. Anyways, yeah, half the peak is broken. We move on to our third game here. This is the longest game that we have here for tonight. It's a choice between either Bidoof or Zigzagoon, so I just go ahead and drop the Zigzagoon. It sucks because this does lock you out certain things, like using play spell to boss the KO a HV on the following turn. But, like, what else can you do? I also just put that double Bidoof here. I wasn't really thinking too hard about it when I did that. I was just like, yeah, what if one of these Bidoofs I didn't want to sacrifice one Bidoof when I only had one Bidoof in play. Now that I have 2, it's like, yeah, it's fine. This also technically plays around escape rope, which I can say was smart enough and like say, oh yeah, I totally planned around that, but I really didn't. Oops. And I guess the Wassa decks, usually you're just very reliant that you're bulky. That's about it. Like, it takes a few shots for them to KO you. If they're playing it really depends on what sub-variant they are, because besides Cramorant, like Cramorant's not gonna do a whole lot of damage to a beat. So you gotta like figure out what you're playing against. It's also something I wasn't good at. I didn't pay attention to like what deck he was playing. I think he mills like a grass energy or a psychic energy, and usually don't pay attention. I also decided the Bidoof out here is decent because like I already got one set up. I don't use the barrels. It's nice, but it's really not necessary. So trying to get that Bidoof in is fine. If it needs keeping my Arceus healthier is good. I got the choice between Ultra Ball Leap or Barrel or just Marty. Instead of Marty, it's going to go get 4 cards and it nails me right into the 2 4 cards I need. I go ahead and Evo, and since I have a Zudra, it's like, if I draw, I mean, I don't want to like get an extra. If anything, I'd rather draw into something that can like discard it, and it pans out. I'm not sure if that's the correct order. I think it's very minimal, and the odds in each scenario are pretty even or like unlikely to happen. It doesn't really matter if you pick it up or not, or if you do, or if you just don't use the Evo instance. Technically, if you're planning on discarding a Pokemon that you drew off it, do Evo instance first because it takes it out the deck and it gives you a higher chance of Ultra Balls. So that was my rational thinking when I went through that, instead of just like not doing it. Anyways, I get irritated now. I could like figure out I was irritated earlier if I just paid attention to what was being thrown to the Wassa. I really wasn't paying that much attention for some reason. I think I was having a chat with someone else. I could also decide whether or not I want to put down the other Arceus. I go ahead and use the barrel. My plan here is ultimately to start attacking for Regidrago. So I'm just looking around to see what we got here. No, the Drago's there, and I have a way to discard the around in my hand to get the Drago. So I'm going to set this up, take the KO on this Giratina. Yeah, we're just gonna be really I'm not getting the KO with rolling iron, whatever the Hydro attack is called. It does technically mean I'm susceptible to Thornton plus Mirage Gate. Still unlikely, but it's a possibility. But, you know, we take care of Alex as we can get him. That still puts a lot of stress on him to figure that out. And ultimately, I'm fine taking like a risk because it's so unlikely to happen, Also, my opponent just has not had the greatest starts overall. Like, he's just like, I feel like he's just panicking between all of his options here. So, basically only looking to get the Giratina into my discard now. I've already used my VSTAR, so I don't really have a great tool to get it out. But, I mean, I am pretty solid on the field right now. I can very easily take a KO. He sends back into the Arceus, which is also cool. Not a lot of it, because it allows me to charge up the backline Arceus, especially with the VSTAR already in my hand. So, yeah, we take it. I also was not paying attention to this as well. The Arceus VSTAR does knock out the Raikou. I'm so used to like V's having like 220 or usually like 220 HP. And then the basic V is usually the Cape and Toughness. I'm usually just in the mindset of trying to work around that, but yeah, I just straight up Oko it. Makes it a lot easier because I'll even ponder like, oh, do I swap out into Regidrago right now? Because I can just stay in it, Tree Nova. Because game the Arceus on the bench is really, really nice. And it's also going to take so much for my opponent to come back from this, because if he lets his RC attack go, he doesn't have a lot of tools that can allow him to come back from this exact scenario. This scenario is just rough. So we're going to see Mirage onto the Raikou also, this is interesting, because I feel like Giratina doesn't necessarily struggle with Palkia. There's a Palkia Intel variants, just because like, you Oka the Palkia, right? That's like the only thing I'm worried about. Sometimes they run Big Charm, and other times they run, what's it called? They can run like Freaking Beauty, but those are really the stages you're going to be seeing. If anything, you're going to be seeing probably like the Pika to Bolsonaro from Palkias in the future. So, I don't know. The Raikou seems like a strange inclusion. Comfy is straight up loss of, once again, he's almost at 10. I believe he's like a chorus away from hitting 10. But this board isn't very like stabilizable, so yeah, overall a great situation. The only way I could see myself losing in this situation is if he bosses up a barrel, like Ruoff Sands me, and then I never draw into a switch card or energy cards to get myself out of this situation and just stabilize everything down. But that's like so fringe, right? Like that situation never happens. So I think I'm in a good spot. Especially because in this current game state, I don't have to play any cards in the game. Just gonna toiling around here. There's apparently nothing you can actually do. He does actually get the Thorn now, which is cool. And I think he just hits me with an attack, which is fine. He's gonna get the KO, and then I just submit literally anything. I do literally anything here to finish it off. So, good job with like that. But got off to a crappy start. But also keep up with the consistency of these RC decks. And finally, we got this last game over here with Shadow Rider. Shadow Rider got some interesting stuff because the dude got the tablet. The Forest Sealstone? Yeah, the Forest one that allows you to search your deck for a card. Seems like it'd be pretty decent. It allows you to like fetch out a VIP pass or something, or just grab an energy or energies. There's so many ways to do here. I also noticed a huge amount of second energies. I think it's probably Shadow Rider. I didn't even look at the sleeves either. I don't really do a whole lot of that kind of stuff where I'm like, oh, you know, my opponent has the Shadow Rider sleeves. That means he must be playing Shadow Riders. I don't really ever do that. And I'm also like AFK for some reason, as I just refuse to take in my 2 cards. But yeah, I mean, Regidrago is really nice because having the ability of having multiple attacks like that helps in some of these scenarios. It allows you to not be easily teched against, I feel like. So really, I feel like you're playing against yourself this, which is cool. I don't mind that. These decks are fine the way they are. I really lost orders. I'm like tempted to keep it in case if I lost it next turn. But I think about it, and there's no way I'm gonna get a hits the Crescent Glow. I think it's what the attack is called. It allows him to charge up his energy. A little scary, but I have damage reduction, and I have some damage. Like, this hit is just so phenomenal. Think about using the barrel first. Then I just decide, it's not really worth it. I'm searching through my deck. I don't have the other Regidrago. Both of them are trying to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and go through the RC round and my deck just a little bit and hold the path and peak. Like thinking about like if I wanted to use something. Actually, I think I decided to click on Regidrago VSTAR here in order to try to build some targets into this card. So yeah. Do I? I'm thinking about it. No, I don't know that. I figured if it gets bumped out, I can do it on a future turn. And then right now, if I am able to completely ult Shadow Rider, that's going to be way better than actually getting the middle on like super early. Both of these V-Stars you can play as like basically a search for a better item finder for two very cards previous eras, either the Gen 1 era or the Gen 5 base mech. Get some damage on me, I was like, okay, charge that, retreat, and now I am looking for drop the Royally 9 on him. It's just good enough damage, and he's not really doing a whole lot. He gets the return KO onto my, onto my RCs, which just means I can get him some cards. I'm done. I'm just completely, never mind. I'm still at Star Legacy now. I don't hit any of my other targets. I was like, I'll grab Switch, and there's no. The reason why I grabbed the Switch here is because I don't think the other cards are too. I'd rather preserve the energy onto the RC so I can and get the attachment. I just think that scenario is good for me in general. And yeah, we are just in a solo spot here. But yeah, the reason why I want to my energy attack it is just to help get the other one charged. He ends up pulling my RCs anyways. And he doesn't even get the KO on it, so we're gonna do the cool Regidrago play where we knock out of the Akita and the choice spell. So we research and no breaks about it, just full steam ahead, knock it out. Anyways, I thank you guys for watching. This deck is cool. I definitely would recommend this deck over like any other Regidrago variant, and I'll see you guys later.